Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever may be the case. My name again, you know my name, Cecil the Young, coming to you live and in color from Soundview Media here in Stratford, Connecticut. And again, as I said before, I'd like to have y'all tune into this program because believe me, what they tried to do to me, they can do it to you as well as to others. And I'm sure that they've done it to me, they've done it to others in the past as well. But it's got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is unless we come forward and speak about it and expose those of them that are doing it to us like that. As they said before, if you see something, say something. Well, I seen something and I said something. I so-called blew the whistle. And blowing the whistle, what did that cause me? These here folks are supposed to be so-called about serving the public and doing the public's interest, come to find out that they have committed violation of the public order in ways that I can't even explain in words. It really troubles me to know that these folks are supposed to be here to help us keep your jobs and try to make sure that you get treated right, they turn around here and try to do what they did to me, which is unjust. And that's what I'm going to show you. And I say thank God for the Human Rights Commission because they have taken my case based on the request from State Rep. Andre Baker, based on the fact that two city council persons requested that they look into my allegations in terms of my civil rights being violated. And I say shame, shame, shame on the city of Bridgeport. Shame, shame, shame on the Labor Board commissioners for doing what they did, which is jump in bed with the city of Bridgeport to violate the public trust and to violate my civil rights. And as you know, I can't let this go. I'm fighting for my rights. What would you do if it was you? That's what they did to me, and I'm going to show you all that, okay? And I'm sure that the Human Rights Commission is going to likewise expose the fact that what they did to me was wrong and unjust, and it should have never happened. And it troubled me because, again, you see here the letter says that I was terminated, huh? The letter said I was terminated for what? You going to do your mic?
Yes.
Okay. Now, she's going to reflect on the letter, telling you what the letter says, why I was terminated. It's very important that you connect this letter to here. Here is the Labor Board's decision by Albert Murphy in terms of his final decision, in terms of him ruling on behalf of the city and ruling in favor of the city. And I want to show you that they committed fraud, they violated the public trust, and I got overwhelming evidence in black and white. I got audio tapes of sound bites of those of them speaking, lying under oath, okay, and not under oath, but they lied, and I have overwhelming evidence showing that, which I will present to you today. And again, as I said before, look at last week's show. Last week's show, well, basically, I have Gerald Weiner, I have Mike Cohat, okay, I have Jody Paul, okay, saying things that they did not say in terms of this letter here. This letter here says that I was terminated because I have not come to work. It says that so-called in the name of you, they classified it as you so-called voluntarily resigned, and they justified me by so-called taking away my rights by saying that I voluntarily resigned. So therefore, it comes to me that I'm terminated. It ends up being the bottom line. I was terminated for not coming to work when y'all have seen over the years that I've shown you that I've coming to work. And that's why I said it troubles me that I'm being treated this way. So now I'm going to have the Labor Board, her read off the Labor Board's decision based on what they said, the reason why the city was justifiable in doing what they did to me. Could you read that letter? Because again, you're going to have Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohat, okay, and Jody Paul, and I will show you in a little while how much they lied on me to violate my civil rights.
You want this
Yeah.
one? Or
Well, read them both.
okay, I'm going to read first the letter from the Department of Health and Social Services dated March 20th, 2006, in reference to unauthorized absence. Dear Mr. Young, you were advised via a letter from Labor Relations dated 3/10 that you must return to work immediately or you will be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the City of Bridgeport. As of Friday, March 17, 2006, you have not returned to work. There is no valid reason for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered unauthorized and your employment with the city is hereby terminated effective immediately. If you have any questions, please call your union representative. Sincerely, Marion Evans, Director of Health and Social Services.
Okay, now you're going to read the letter from Labor Board ruling.
Yes. Okay, this is State of Connecticut Department of Labor Board of Mediation and Arbitration. Generally speaking, the union also claims that the city has not sustained its burden of proving that the grievance is in violation of the attendance policy. Discussion. When considering disciplinary matters, it is universally recognized that the employer, as the moving party, bears the burden of providing the elements of the case against the grievant. Here, that case consists of demonstrating that the conduct proscribed absenteeism was a legitimate concern of the employer and the employee was aware of the policy involved and has been shown to have violated it. Essentially, the grievant has been shown to have been absent for work for a period of almost a month. He was thereafter required to present a medical certificate explaining his absence. There does not appear to be any particular formality attached to the requirements of a medical certificate other than that it be acceptable to the appointing authority, for example, the grievance superior. A further condition, presumably, would be that the appointing authority acceptance of a certificate not be unreasonably withheld. In this case, the city was faced with a situation where an employee had been out of work for several weeks and attempted to justify his absence with what were literally scraps of paper. 2 of them were signed by a nurse. The one was assigned allegedly by a doctor, did not contain any description of his grievance ailment or diagnoses of any kind. Interesting enough, in a separate missive, Dr. Walters noted that he was not treating the grievant for the condition of which the grievant was blaming his troubles, but had referred the grievant to a psychiatrist. The conclusions are inescapable that the grievant was or should have been aware of the policy, that he was in violation of it, and what the consequences would be of continued failure to comply with it. We further note that the allegation of hostile work environment are not borne by the credible evidence presented. The grievance is denied, was the award.
And as you notice, he never said nothing about I voluntarily resigned. And this is Albert Murphy, the chairman of that board in terms of the determination part. He never said anything about me voluntarily resign at all. But yet and still you will have Gerald Wayner keep using the fact that he says that Murphy ruled against me by saying that I voluntarily resigned. You have Mike Coed saying the same thing. There's no way in the world that they can call this and change this the way they change it when we have the evidence that I have. I have evidence showing that I did come to work. Here it is evidence from my supervisor, Ether, confirming that I did come to work on that date, March 6, 2016. And it's a shame and a disgrace that they turned around here and would not accept my doctor's note because it so-called did not give a diagnosis as to what I was being treated for in the beginning, okay? And what troubled me is that they forced me to have to tell them what I was being treated for, all right? Extreme anxiety, okay? It troubled me because I had to now expose what I was being treated for, which I haven't been for 19 years. Now you see me stumbling now with words because the medication that I have, it throws me off from time to time in order for me to take focus. And again, it's a shame and a disgrace that I've been treated like this, a 75-year-old African-American man being treated by people of all colors. And I say it's about black and white, it's about right and wrong. It was wrong what they did to me. To say my doctor's note was literally, was not treating me? How dare Albert Murphy say my doctor was never treating me for such a problem? He has been treating me for many years. He said that very clearly. Yet and still the labor board commissioner would sit here and lie and say that he was never treating me for such problem. Okay, this is the state labor board chairman. This is a shame and a disgrace. And what troubles me is that then he used the excuse. He said my doctor's signature was unillegible. Well, that's the way Dr. Walter writes his doctor notes. All right, on loop here in 2005. Okay, same loop by same Dr. Walters. The city accepted that on a leg injury that I had. Okay, they accepted the same loop. No problem with them about the loop. Okay, now all of a sudden there's a problem with the loop. Why? Who said it was a problem with the loop? Did Dr. Torina, did Dr. Evans say it was a problem with the loop? Did Jody Paul say it was a problem with the loop? No, that was what Albert Murphy said. Albert Murphy made up an excuse to say that these signatures, these documentation basically were literally strips of paper. How can you fax over strips of paper? This was faxed over to the office of Dr. Evans, okay? It was faxed over to her, okay? Because they requested, they want to know specifically what I was being treated for. So they forced me up under the HIPAA law, even though I did not have to tell them what I was being treated for. I told them in order to keep my job, keep my benefits. And that's why I came to work against my doctor's will, in spite of the fact that he told me to stay out, all right? Because I was being treated for what? For what? Extreme anxiety. They knew all the above. And that's why I said to myself, why am I being treated like this in America? Just because I dared enough to want to care about our kids playing on contaminated dirt piles, all right, that would cause them to come down with different types of diseases and different types of cancers based on these kind of contaminated piles from an old underground oil spill, all the above. That's what this is from. And to have kids playing on these piles and no one not to say something, And you say to me, if you see something, say something. Well, I seen it and I said something. And it caused me what? Not to have a job no more. All right, and all I'm saying is to the public, what they did to me was wrong. And I want my reparation for what they did to me. I'm not going to let it go. And it troubled me because, again, here again, I've done everything under the world possible. Here's the doctor's note. When you reflect on your doctor's note? Huh? Wouldn't even give me medical leave, ask for medical leave off. They wouldn't give it to me. Why?
Which date?
Jody
is
Falk, the 10th.
that? Okay. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can read it from there. Okay, this is from the Labor Relations and Benefit Administration. Dear Mr. Young, this is dated March 10, 2006. Dear Mr. Young, a copy of your doctor's note was received today in this office. However, this documentation is still not acceptable as it does not provide a diagnosis/reasons for your absence. Therefore, your absence is considered an unauthorized absence. In accordance with the city's attendance policy, upon an unauthorized absence of 3 or more consecutive days, the employee will be deemed to have resigned from employment. You must return to work immediately, or you will be deemed to have voluntarily resigned your position as a security guard with the city of Bridgeport. If you have any questions, please call your union representative. And this was written by Jody Paul, Labor Relations Officer.
Okay, now you go to the other one. What's the other one? Janet Finch on the 17th.
Yes.
It's right here, ain't it?
Okay, this is from Janet M. Finch. Dear Mr. Young, our office is in receipt of your application for family and medical leave. Based upon the reason for leave that you provided, your request has been denied. Your reason for leave does not meet the requirements of a serious health condition or any other reason for leave as defined under the Family and Medical Leave Act. If you have any questions regarding this decision, please contact the Office of Labor Relations, Janet M. Finch.
Okay. And again, as I said before, it troubled me, all right, that I can be treated that way. And what I want to do is I'm going to play some play the tape recorder a little bit to let you hear, likewise, Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, Gerald Weiner, and Mike Coed. I'm going to let you hear some of the remarks they made pertaining to my unjust termination. Dr. Evans confirmed the fact that she allowed me to come to work on that date. Stop it for 1 second. You know, this is what really troubles me is that you hear Jody Paul making it very clear, changing her mind, saying that I voluntarily resigned, and how could she say such a thing like that? Yet and still it would put down that I was terminated. And what troubles me is that for Albert Murphy and Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, for them to do what they did in terms of them going along with them violate my rights is a shame and a disgrace. And that's why I wrote the governor, and I demanded that the governor should either charge them with fraud, okay, and get them off of discontinue their board, being a part of the board of labor relations. They should not be on the board of labor relations anymore. They should be made to pay the taxpayers back the money that they paid to them for the work that they so-called allegedly did. They committed fraud. Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, Albert Murphy, okay, all these people violated the public trust, and they need to be made accountable. These are state officials, okay? And I'm saying the governor, I'm requesting the governor to take some action against these folks because they violated the public trust along with committing fraud. Okay, and I said to myself before, if anything I said here I can't back up, like I said to Gerald Weiner, Mike Cohad, and the rest of the above, Dr. Evans, Jody Paul, if anything I said here I can't back up, and I say, sue me. Take advantage of me, sue me, shut me up. They won't do it, why? That's the reason why I couldn't understand how the court would throw this matter out. Why would the judge throw this matter out unless he was connected with Attorney John Williams, and if he was connected with the Labor Board Commissioners? We don't know. All I do know is that these judges are appointed by legislators. These judges are appointed by the governor. Okay, these are politicians that are in debt with different people who put them in positions of authority. Was that the case here, where Attorney John Williams threw the towel in on me? All right, because that's what he did. You, based on this overwhelming evidence that I presented here today, you can see even Ray Charles will say, hold up, this man is blind, but yet until he's saying this man is innocent. Why? Because you can see, based on the statistics, based on the evidence, overwhelming evidence, that happened, I was unjustly terminated. Okay? And again, I say to myself, well, why am I going through this? Okay, I can't sleep at night. You see how I'm stuttering now, trying to get the words to speak out the way I want it spoken out? Because again, it's like it got me boggled. I can't understand how the city of Bridgeport, Joe Ganim, and them who plead to say, give me a second chance. All right? Ernest Newton and the rest of them say, give me a second chance. Well, they haven't given a second chance. And again, I'm going to sit back and say, why don't you want me to this matter exposed? Why don't you want this matter dealt with? The same way you dealt with Wanda Patrick, when you indicated to her, okay, that you're going to send her matter up to a private attorney up in New Haven to see if whether or not she violated the public's trust by doing what she did so-called allegedly during her working hours. Well, the question is, what about these people here, Joe Ganim? That these people here that you have authority over? Ethan, who still works for the city of Bridgeport, my supervisor, is still working for the city of Bridgeport, who could tell you that I was at work on that day. Why come you, Mayor Ganim, have not taken any action to deal with this? And again, I say, the only reason why you treat me this way is because our Connecticut Post press is not printing these stories. They're not talking about these issues that I'm talking about. And I'm saying shame on the Connecticut Post, and I'm pleading with the Connecticut Post. Tell the truth. Get this issue out there. I canceled out my subscription with the Connecticut Post after 60-something years. Striving with the Connecticut Post, loved that paper. That paper helped me, got me where I am today to a great degree. Because if it wasn't for the Connecticut Post, the Bridgeport Post back in them days, I would not probably be recognized. I would not be where I am today. I'm secured now in terms of my life, in terms of me being able to say, I'm not going to go in this world surviving without being able to maintain a decent level of living standard and being able not to have to beg anybody for anything because I've earned it. I earned what I have, and that's why I said thank God for him allowing me to get this far to a point where I don't have to kiss and beg them people to do anything for me. What I want them to do for me is to give me my justice, declare my name. You have overwhelming evidence showing you that I came to work, yet and still the letter here said as of March 20th, I was terminated for not coming to work. How dare they? Okay, 3 or 4 days later, how dare you sit there and say I wasn't at work when you got overwhelming evidence showing that I was at work? My supervisor signed my time card I was at work. How could this go on in America? And I'm saying to Mayor Joe Ganim, I'm saying to the governor, okay, you have the power to reinstate me, to make me whole, as the union told you to do back then. Yet and still, even the labor board said back then that the union agreed with them. The union never agreed with them on any of this matter. Okay, and for them to say that and to get away with that, I'm saying to the Connecticut Post, you may not like me and my style. You may not appreciate me and my style in the way that I approach issues. I am who I am, okay? And because I had the audacity to want to fight and speak out about my rights being violated, you want to shun me, you want to ignore my issues because of what? You got that kind of relationship with Joe Ganim where he got you so hung up over the fact that because he allowed you to be in the back room that you don't have to come into the front room no more? And that's the reason why you don't want to treat us, John Doe public who comes to City Hall on a monthly basis to speak out about issues pertaining to our needs and our community's needs, and we can't get you to respond to us. And I'm saying to you, why not? Why come you can't be fair and impartial? Ain't that what you want, Mayor? You want your license back. You said you want your license back as an attorney. You did the time, you committed the crime, and you did the time, and you paid your debt to society. I'm saying to you, I did not commit no crime. This is a crime that they did to me. This is a crime what they did to me. And I hope that the Human Rights Commission, when they subpoenaed the governor, as they will, based on telling him to produce evidence, did Cecil give you evidence showing that they committed fraud? And if he did, what did you do with that, Governor? Did you report it to the Attorney General's office? Did you report it to the U.S. Attorney's office that Gerald Wayne and Mike Cohad them violated the public trust by committing fraud as well as covering up for unethical taxes being laid out by city officials? Huh? Is that what you want to be known for as the city of Bridgeport? That will frame you in a heartbeat? Because that's what they did to me. They framed me and they got them to cover it all up. And I'm saying to you, well, how dare they? How dare they treat me like they treat me like this? I'm saying it's a shame and a disgrace that I can be treated this way. And all I'm saying is to the public at large, these people here, Albert Murphy, Gerald Wayner, Jody Paul, all these people there should be a grand jury. There should be someone to tell us exactly whether or not, is Cecil saying that, is he telling the truth? Or is he just making this up? Again, like I said, I'm burnt out with this issue to a great degree, and I need a recovery time. Because I see me losing it even now. Like I said to myself, what's going on with me? My mind, I can't halfway sleep. I mean, my words are being slammed, and I can't even focus like I used to focus. I'm saying to you, why? Because of what they did to me and my family. I don't want to say what they did to my other part of my family yet, okay? Because of what they've been through, what they're going through. Okay, but if I told you the other part again, I'm ashamed to even say that, how they've been affected by what's going on here. But again, I want you to know that you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it because I'm going to give it all out to you. But right now, I'm being patient right now as to how this has affected me and my family. And I'm saying, I will never let this go. I'm waiting to justice come to get my name cleared. I'm waiting to someone from the U.S. Attorney's Office come down here and tell them folks that what you did to me was a violation of the public trust, and you'll be held accountable for what you did to me. And I say to the public, John Doe, Spread the word out about why the Connecticut Post, why our radio station, why our TV stations are not covering this kind of story. If you can cover the absentee ballot about those grassroots folks in our neighborhoods being paid to go play the game for them to win if they want in order for them to win, okay? Because they didn't do it by accident. They were hired to make sure they get the absentee ballot. They were hired to make sure that they do what they get them elected, their people elected. And to turn around here and to treat me like they treat me based on what they done to here? Where's the reporters? Where's the crime reporters? What's going on here? Somebody need to talk to me. I'm gonna close this thing down because again, like I said, my medicine, I ain't took it this morning. I'm kind of thrown off right now. And again, like I said, it needs to stop. It needs to stop, okay, before it gets too far out of hand. Thank you for listening to the show again. And as I said before, it ain't never been about me. It's always been about we. And again, please contact the governor's office, contact the mayor's office, contact the Connecticut Post, contact ICC, contact NAB, the News 12, and ask them why have they not covered the story? Is Gerald Wainer, is Mike Coad, did Mike Coad and Albert Murphy have that kind of power where you are afraid to expose them? And I can understand because you got licenses. You got employees that work for you. And that's the reason why you may not want these reporters to do their job, which is report the corruption that need to be reported. Because until they do that, corruption will still flow like running water out of a stream, uncontrollable. Okay, and again, I say to this power to be, please help me, help you, help yourself, because dear God, the grace of God can be you next. Again, thank you for listening to the Cecil Young Show. Tune in again next week, and I will hope to give you some kind of response from the Human Rights Commission pertaining to my matters here. They have definitely going to respond to it. They're definitely going to deal with the labor board, with the governor. The governor has been notified. Mayor Ganem has been notified, and I'm waiting on their response, okay, from the governor's office as well as from the mayor's office. And I'm sure the Human Rights Commission is going to force them to produce what they have not been able to produce, what they have not been able to produce since April 8th. Ernest Newton asked them, could you produce evidence pertaining to whether or not the city was justifiable in terminating Cecil Young? Huh? It's what? Come on now. 6 months later, we still ain't got them to resolve that problem, and we sent the governor a letter showing them all the above. How dare he would allow corruption to flow in his administration and he not say nothing about it? Come on, let's deal with this. It didn't happen in your administration, Lamont. This happened before your administration, before you got in office. So why would you want to cover up an injustice, okay? I feel like the Jews felt like back in the days when they said, we will never let what you did to our people, never let you forget it. We will never let you forget what you did to me. And I feel the same way. I will never let this go. So I plead with the city council, I plead with the mayor, I plead with the governor to expose this corruption. And if you find that I said something I can't back up, charge me, lock me up for perjury, lock me up for slander if that's the case. But if not the case, please someone come forward and speak the truth so I can get my name cleared, so I can have the sleep and the peace that I deserve to have. Because believe me, you did a lot of damage to me. Physically, psychologically, you did a lot to me. You did a lot to my family. And I can't let it go. As Bishop Bonner said, somebody's hurting my brother, and y'all know it's been wrong. And the question is, how much longer y'all going to have this brother go through before you say something? You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. Please help me, help you, so that you will never have to go through this like I've been through. Thank you much for listening to the Cecil Young Show. Have a good day.